My pimple patch is kind of giving Brittany Mike. And a diva, in a way. Are you a real directioner? Name all the boys' blood types then. That's what I thought. Hi, my name is Maddie, and welcome back to my channel. I apologize in advance if the lighting is crazy and you can't see all my pores. It is currently pouring down rain in Southern California. It's fine, I don't care, I'm not angry. Now this video might look really familiar to my sister, because this is the very first video I ever made on my channel. It is no longer there, I'll save you the trip. I had to take it off because, well, let's just say it was really bad. And my hair, chopped. But I really love this topic, so I thought it'd be really fun to redo it. Also, I only have one One Direction t-shirt, and it is currently dirty, so I hope this 5 Sauce shirt was good enough. Speaking of 5 Sauce, can someone please check on Ashton Irwin? Why is he on Twitter like 24 hours a day and tweeting like 90 things a day? He needs to get off that app. I don't need to see him using the word unk. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, I don't care, but I don't need to see that. Now, were you inside during 2020? And were you on TikTok making alt TikTok your personality? Right. As a proud participant of the 2020 Directioner culture myself, I thought it'd be really fun to look at like the whole One Direction comeback in 2020. Now, I'm assuming you know who One Direction is if you clicked on this video, but I guess if not, One Direction was a massively popular boy band created in 2010 by everyone's favorite America's Got Talent judge, Simon Cowell. Technically, he didn't actually put them together, but he just took the credit because he's a man. He did sign them though and became the face of their management, so that's why people kind of associate him with creating the band. The band consisted of Oscar-winning Don't Worry Darling actor Harry Styles, Niall Horan, Zayn Malik, Louis Tomlinson, and Liam Payne. May he rest in peace. After 5 years together, the band officially took a hiatus in January 2016. Hiatus is a very loose term here. If you weren't there for peak One Direction, I'm really sorry. Like, you missed out on like culture. That really sucks. Even though the band broke up in 2016, the fans were there. We were still there. The boys did go off and do their own solo careers, so that's what we were doing. We were busy doing that and hoping that One Direction would come back together. Spoiler, they did not. So if the fandom is still there the entire time, why was it 2020 that we were doing all this? So if you didn't know, there was this little thing called COVID-19 that happened in 2020, but everyone was stuck at home and we kind of had no communication other than our phones and TikTok. TikTok was really big and TikTok kind of grew because of COVID, because everyone was stuck at home and we had nothing better to do. Now, having TikTok as your fandom's main meeting point can truly only bring like a Pandora's box type of trouble into the world, but this was before TikTok was TikTok shop and begging people for money on live. I really wanted to make a Jason Nash joke here, but technically David Dobrik is back and Jason Nash is technically employed again, so lost shot. Anyway, this is where alt talk becomes important. If you're unfamiliar with this phenomenon, you're a very lucky soul. But it was like the dumbest cesspool videos ever. It was like the OG TikTok brain rot. It was like before the skibbity toilets of the world. That is so old. I probably sound like ancient saying those words out loud right now, and so I apologize in advance for that. Anyway, there was this war between straight TikTok and alt TikTok. Alt TikTok, I've explained to you. Straight TikTok was just like the Addison Rays and the hype houses of the world. That's what was going on over there. But the gist was that alt TikTok was for cool people and straight TikTok was for like basic, boring, not cool people. Also, does anybody else remember that tweet from Avani where she was like, alt TikTok is so stupid because she was on straight TikTok? I think about that often. It was so funny of her to do that. I don't think she thought it was funny. I think she was actually really upset, but that was hilarious in hindsight of her to do. Now, I don't know if this was true for every single person in the fandom, but there was a very large crossover of alt TikTok and One Direction fandom TikTok. Now, that might not seem important, but like if the inherent premise of alt TikTok is that it's like weird and cool and quirky, then like that crossover means that One Direction is weird and cool and quirky, which is crazy coming from like a band that was probably bigger than the Beatles. I don't know, I just made that up. I don't know if that's true. But other than the deadly pandemic that was going around, it was also the 10-year anniversary that the band got together. So there was a weird mixing of like old fans that were active during the time of the 2010 to 2016 era coming back and reliving that part. There was also people who'd been there the entire time that never left, and then there's also like people who didn't know about One Direction coming in and celebrating the 10-year anniversary. And is that not the most special thing ever? I love that. Nostalgia was also like a huge thing in 2020 because like I guess we were like, oh my god, it's the start of a new decade, we're gonna lose everything, as if we don't reference 2010s like all the time. But having One Direction as like a nostalgic factor, that really helped with this whole resurgence thing. Does anybody else remember that mashup of like all the popular songs in the 2010s that like every person used? I could probably recite the song if I needed to. And where was the One Direction cameo? Anyway, given all these factors, it was kind of no shock that this whole One Direction thing happened. Now, in my opinion, oh, I can't speak. Why? It's just a sentence. Girl, you say it. Shut up! Now, in my opinion, there were famous fan accounts or like personnel during this time, and the first thing that comes to mind for me is like One Direction TikTok dances. Now, if you had TikTok for like a day, you know what a TikTok dance is. I mean, it's like the Addison Rays of the world. We love Addison Rae in this house. Now, this is no different, except they were two One Direction songs. I'm so sorry, this is sidetracked, but does anyone remember when Magic by One Direction, a previously unreleased song, got popular on TikTok for like, gosh, what were they? They were like those like story videos. I don't know what they're called, but they're like scenarios. You know, it's like you have like 5 words left to say in your entire life. Those type of videos. And it got popular on there. And I remember everyone in the fandom was so mad. And they have every right to be. That song's really good and they didn't deserve that, especially not for those videos. Anyway, back to One Direction dances. I loved these. I thought they were so fun. And the one creator that comes to mind, like if I think about a One Direction TikTok dance, I picture her face in my mind. Her name's Maya. They weren't like really hard like most TikTok dances, but they were fun. And they were like biding time while we waited till July 23rd. And we had a great time. Please tell me somebody else did them, because like me and my sister did them all the time. Another creators, I should say, I watched all the time were Teresa and Ethan. I'm not sure how popular they were outside of me and my sister. We really liked watching their videos. So Teresa, to my knowledge, was like just a normal girl and she just like made videos talking about One Direction. She also had like this series where she was trying to get a bunch of One Direction cardboard cutouts, I think from the same photo shoot. Now, Ethan, I don't know much about him. I didn't know much about him until him and Teresa started going on live together. He was also a One Direction TikTok creator. He just kind of like made videos about One Direction. Girl, I don't know. I was there and yet I could not tell you what their videos were about. Not a clue. And I can't even go check. Both of their TikToks are like wiped. So they went on live a lot. They were also like on the phone a lot together. And of course, we can't be normal and see a man and a woman together because we're like, oh my god, they should be dating. So there was a lot of shipping going on. And I guess lucky for them, they ended up dating. It was kind of like our version of Cassie and Nick, if you think about it, in a way. This was a very good situation because they actually did like each other and they did end up dating, unlike some situations where shipping 2 people together does irreparable damage to their friendship. Anyway, they were really cute together. I can't find dates for any of these things because, as I said, both of their TikToks are wiped. You gotta take my word for it. A lot of creators during this time, actually, if you go and look at their TikToks, like most of that stuff is wiped. And that's fair. And I support them in that endeavor. Some of them are still up, but like they haven't posted since like 2021. Fun fact, no one is forcing me to tell you this information, but I'm gonna share it anyway. I had a One Direction fan account, not at that time, I think it was like a year later, and I was posting some really cringy shit on there. Like, thank God that I deleted those. Like, no one will ever see them. And just know that I'm like saving you. I do have them on backlog, and I might react to them on the podcast I have with my sister. Shout out our channel together. My username is really good though, so I might bring that TikTok back if I re-download the app again. Guess we'll see. Some of their creators that I'm not sure how big they were, but they were very prevalent to my life, so I felt like mentioning them, are Chris Lee, Jasmine Zaid, and 1D Vocals. I remember thinking that he was really hot. Sorry if that was weird, but I felt I had to say it. Anyway, they all just made One Direction content, similar to the ones that I can't describe. The last creator I want to mention is kind of a big one. It is singer-songwriter Ash, who you may know from Moral of the Story, To All the Boys 3, yeah. Now, she was a major player in this entire event that happened because she was a fan of One Direction, and she collabed with Niall Horan. Yes, like the Niall Horan of Irish fame. Irish fame is the craziest thing I maybe have ever said. They did a remix of her song Moral of the Story, which came out in June. And in promotion, they were on like Instagram Live all the time. So obviously people were like, oh my god, she has an in. She knows what's gonna happen. This was an idea that everyone ran with, and you have to keep that in mind. Now, she posted these TikToks that were like clowning for the anniversary, and one was her flipping through a book of clowns, and then there was another one where she was just listening to History by One Direction. This sent us into a spiral. We were like, oh my god, what do you know? Like, you know something, obviously. And we would soon find out that she didn't know anything. But that's okay, and we still love her. But yeah, she like didn't know anything, and she was actually just kind of torturing us, and I actually really support her in that. That's really funny. If I had the option, I'd probably do the same. Now, with all that in mind, we finally get to talk about the most anticipated day in human history, probably, in my opinion. The anniversary itself was truly something. It was a day. It was definitely a July 23rd to be remembered. Like, given all these conditions, it actually makes a lot of sense why it happened this way. I can't imagine it going any other way, but we all thought it would. What the fandom thought was going to be the anniversary, there were many theories, that's for sure. There was a lot of them out there. I think the most prevalent one was probably like a Zoom call with everyone. For other people, they were like, no, they're getting back together. It's going to be a reunion, which is crazy. And sometimes I still refer to it as like the reunion because that's just like truly, we were calling it that for months. So it like is stuck in my mind. Like, that was the reunion. It was the anniversary. There was no reunions happening, but we truly thought that was going to happen. Now, obviously none of that happened, as we know, but what did happen? On July 22nd, a day before the anticipated anniversary, the One Direction Twitter account, last active in 2018, tweeted. They tweeted on Twitter. I cannot describe the feeling that was coursing through me when I got the notification on my phone that the One Direction account tweeted. I mean, I don't know why we were shocked. It was bound to happen, but it was just like crazy. It's like crazy to see. There were a lot of theories. They were like, who's logged into the account? Everyone thought it was Liam for some reason, and I kind of love that. I forget why exactly we were like, no, that's Liam. In reality, I don't think it was any of them. I'm pretty sure it was probably someone from like Psycho. I guess we'll never know. The very next day, we got tweets from Harry, Louis, Liam, and Niall. Noticeably, there is nothing from Zayn, and this actually got the fandoms kind of up in arms. They were like, oh my god, why isn't he saying anything? He wouldn't be famous if not for the band. And then some people were like, well, he had a horrible time in the band, so he's actually not obligated to say anything. Personally, I don't care. I didn't think he was going to tweet just based on he left the band, so like, I just didn't assume that he was going to. So I was not disappointed. Some people were. Now, that started the morning. Me and my sister, this is crazy. We pulled an all-nighter. So we were up the entire time. Also from the 22nd to the 23rd, there was a lot of weird things happening. There was this one radio show that was playing a really old, not really old, it was probably from like 3 years ago, interview of Niall. And we were like, oh my god, Niall's like there. And then we found out later that it was like, no, that was actually like from a while ago. I'm not sure why they did that. Well, I know why they did that. They're capitalizing on the fact that 10 years. Yes, I understand. But like, that's crazy. That was insane, and you should be jailed for that. The next big thing that really happened was the website. Now, talking about this fuck-ass website actually kind of gets me upset sometimes, but I guess we have to be grateful for what we actually got. So this website doesn't exist anymore. If you go to the URL, it's not there. But someone really special put it on the Wayback Machine. So thank you. Thank you. This made my job so much easier. So I'll put the link in the description if you actually want to go check it out. It's really fun. But if you don't want to, I'll describe some of it for you. There was like an opening screen that just had like a bunch of photos of them as a band. And there was also like a section where you could make a playlist of One Direction songs. And also while you're scrolling this entire website, they're playing One Direction songs. I think it was like in cahoots with Apple Music. So that's why. And then if you skip past this, you can like scroll down and there's just like, it goes year by year of like things that the band did and like albums they put out, things like that. You get the point. You know, in reality, they kind of did the Taylor Swift Eras tour before she did, but like not on tour because it's kind of like by era. That's kind of tea of them. So like, this is a really cute website. I remember they had like little pictures of the CDs, and I remember printing those out and putting them on my wall. But when this came out on the 23rd, people were less than enthused, I think is a correct term to use. We were grateful. We were like, wow, that's so cool and awesome. Thanks for the website of stuff we already knew. But I think it's just we had this like idea of what was gonna happen already in our minds. So then whatever we got, we were like, what the fuck is this? It was pretty mixed, I would say. Like some people actually were like, no, this is good. We don't need any more. Except we did. We did need more. But I think like the common consensus from what I saw on Twitter was like, yay, but also like, this is it. Come on, girls. And someone needed to be saying that. So this is the last part I have to talk about, and it's very underwhelming. This was actually probably, like, if anything deserving of criticism, this is it. This is it. So Psycho, I don't like Psycho. On the daily, I will actually probably bash them until the day I die. They were like, you know what? You know what you guys need? HD versions of all the music videos and the audios. Who asked for that? I didn't ask for that. I'll tell you that for free. And I don't think anybody else did. So those music videos that they did HD versions of came out 10 years ago. The quality wasn't that bad. We didn't need an HD version. Girl, what are we talking about? I just remember getting my YouTube notifications thing flooded every day. Now, July 23rd in 2020 was a Thursday. So every day they would release a different album on YouTube. Actually, I think they might have been 4K. See, now I don't know what I'm talking about. Fork?
Yes, very high resolution. Fork. I think you mean 4K.
Fork. Yes, fork. The point of the matter, they would do a different one each day. So by the time that they were actually done, it was like Monday of the next week. This was not all a big waste of time though. There was one video in particular that was very important to everyone in the fandom. And this was like, I think our like psychosis era. We were in delusions, and I don't mean that in like a rude way. I mean that in like, it is probably the closest word I could use to this. So if the words infinity music video send a shiver down your spine like me, then you were there. You know what's going on. You know what I'm going to talk about. So the song Infinity by One Direction was off of their 5th album, Made in the AM, the one without Zayn. So this song was not released as a single, and obviously each single had a music video, and I'm not sure how this rumor got started. I don't remember. There was a rumor going around that Infinity was supposed to be a single, and there was supposed to be a music video, but it got scrapped, and the idea went out the window. But obviously, when we were releasing these HD videos, the fandom was like, wait a minute, they might release the Infinity music video from years ago. The thing that was scrapped, obviously. So obviously we had to wait till like Monday to get the Made in the AM releases. And, well, we did. And it was only a lyric video. There was no music video, but, okay, you have to stay with me. There was a glitch right before the bridge. That must mean something, correct? We were kind of doing some like Taylor Swift Reputation levels of math in a way, but we were like glitch. And the glitch means that the music video is coming. Right? For this video, I actually went back to check it like on the video to see if there was actually a glitch, and it's not there. But like, I swear it was there. It was definitely there. Unless it was like edited. Someone like edited in there and then like posted it on TikTok, which is very possible. That actually could have happened. But I feel like I remember going onto YouTube and like seeing a glitch. Also, really random, 3 previously unreleased songs from Take Me Home, Truly Madly Deeply, Magic, and Irresistible were released on streaming. Now, no one was excited for this because we were all listening to it illegally on Spotify anyway, but thanks for the gesture, I guess. And that was the One Direction 2020 resurgence. That was it. I think the most surprising thing out of all of this was that there was no merch line released by Psycho. I think there was definitely fan-made merch for this, but I don't know. Once again, I don't remember. I don't know if there was like copyright laws for Psycho to not do that, but like they could have. I'm just shocked that they didn't. It's such a cash grab. I would have loved like tour shirts from each tour. Oh, that would have been so good. Imagine. I feel like that was a lost opportunity, but you know, I guess they didn't get any money, so yippee. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you remember anything happening that I did not mention, please comment it down below. I would love to talk about this again. I really enjoyed recreating this video. I talked a lot more than I did the first time. Really sticking to the script the very first time because it was my first ever YouTube video. I didn't know what I was doing. See, now I just ramble all the time. I can't say if I've gotten better at it, but I'm certainly having more fun, that's for sure. I've been doing a lot of movie review content lately, so this was a nice switch up of things, except my next video will probably be me complaining about a movie. I already have the script written down, so if you're interested in me complaining about a movie, please subscribe. Also, for this video, I had to log back into my TikTok, and I nearly died from embarrassment. If you want to see me reacting to my old TikToks, then I might do it on the podcast with my sister. I'll link that down below. Please watch our videos. We're so funny. But that's all from me. Bye-bye. Also, why is Luke eating a watermelon? Did no one ever ask that question? I really want to know. I've had this damn shirt for years, and I guess I've just never wondered why he's eating a watermelon. I don't like that. The rest of them look normal. And see, this was before Asha was on Twitter, tweeting 90 million things a day about being unk. What a time, what a time.